Welcome, Premier and Co-Chair and Minister and members. My name's Charmaine Clark. I'm Wunjimarawan, Pikarong and Karkundij, my mother's side. We'll just tell you the Saunders family. This is a message stick from the Elders' Voice. It actually represents, actually it was made by Uncle Rob as well. It is actually the symbol of the Elders' Voice. Message sticks go out and they call people to community, they call people to meetings from all over the country, including all over the state. And it's a way of bringing people together to actually talk business. And when we actually, we're bringing back our actual practices when we have our meetings in chamber, and even when we have our meetings when we're actually talking with elders as well, we use the message stick. So in all our conversations, when one is holding the message stick, they are the person to be listened to, actively listened to, and respected. And I hand over to you for your remarks, the message stick.
Well, thank you very much, Auntie Charmaine. Can I acknowledge you, also Co-Chair Marcus Stewart, to Aboriginal Victorian Minister Gabrielle Williams, to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. Can I begin my remarks by acknowledging the Eastern Maar people as the traditional owners of this land who are meeting on today, and to pay my respects to elders past and present. I'd also like to extend the same respect to all elders past and present, as well as other elders that are here with us today. I also acknowledge each and every member of the First Peoples Assembly of Victoria who've joined us here also. I pay my respects to you, to your families, and to your communities. Since time immemorial, Victorian traditional owners have practiced their laws, customs and language on this land. They've nurtured country through spiritual and material connections to the earth, the water and our state's natural resources. I am both proud and incredibly humbled to be invited here today. I'm proud because we have made it this far, and because together we will go even further. And I'm humbled to walk this path alongside each of you here in this room. You are the keepers of the oldest continuous culture, traditions and stories that we have ever known. You carry the many voices and aspirations of your people, your families and your communities. And you bear and carry the tremendous weight of injustice, displacement and violence. Yours is a path steeped in centuries of loss. And you stand here on the shoulders of those who came before you, who fought and struggled for the freedom, truth and recognition that we are finally realising today. As members of the Assembly, you've been asked to reconcile on behalf of a community who are still fighting to have their voices heard. You may not feel completely equal or accepted in this state, and whose language and history were stolen, rewritten and erased. Many of the questions that you will answer strike at the core of your own identity and belonging. There will be times of great uncertainty, of compromise, of pain and of course of reflection. Nothing about this process will be simple or easy, but treaty and truth will change the cultural landscape of our state. It will forever alter how we view and understand our identity, our history and our future. What you are offering here today is a gift for every single Victorian. You are helping to create a stronger and fairer future for our entire state, one that every single Victorian can be proud of. And for that, we will always be grateful to you. Treaty and Truth is an opportunity to tell stories and to share history. It's a space for those who have been denied their voice, their culture and their aspirations to finally be heard. But more than that, it's a chance to heal and create meaningful change. I recognise that nothing we do here is ever going to undo the suffering Aboriginal Victorians have already endured, of children removed, culture denied and language suppressed. And I know that the scars of our state's past of murder and massacre will never and should never be forgotten. But what we achieved together will ultimately forge a stronger future for all Victorians. A future led entirely by Aboriginal communities, Aboriginal voices and Aboriginal leaders, where outcomes are shaped and determined by communities, where traditional owner groups are properly resourced and equipped to lead meaningful change, and where Aboriginal people no longer need to fight to have their aspirations realised. You are the first in the nation to embark on this significant journey. You sit at the forefront of truth, justice, treaty and voice. And as a government, it is our duty to listen to you, to learn from our past and to build a better future for every Victorian, to put an end to the prejudice and discrimination that continues to hold back Aboriginal kids across our state, to write our true history and tell the stories that deserve to be heard and to be believed, to talk about the legends, the leaders and the heroes of our nation, of Simon Wonga, of William Barrack, of Margaret Tucker, of William Cooper, Archie Roach, Hillis Maris and the Aboriginal Advancement League, and to create a future where First Nations communities have autonomy, power and true self-determination. A future where every element of the Uluru Statement from the heart, that beautiful truth-telling poetry, is realised. Where we do all things that should have been done decades ago. Where we give back what was never ours to take. Where we tell the stories that deserve to be told. Where we acknowledge what's wrong and where we finally make it right. The road to treaty will not always be easy. It will be filled with uncertainty, with pain and with hard choices. It will challenge us, each of us, and it will test the strength of our communities. But I promise you this, we will always listen, we will always learn, we will always do more, and we will always do better. We will hold space for First Peoples' voices to be heard and to be understood, and we won't ever shy away from those uncomfortable truths that deserve to be told. Our government and our state is committed to treaty with First Nations peoples, and we will stand with the Assembly and its members today, tomorrow, and always until that day eventually comes. It is one of the great honours of my time as the leader of this state to be with you today, and I thank you profoundly.
Thanks, Aunty Charmaine, and thank you, Premier. Thank you, Minister, for being with us. We're really pleased to have you down here on Gadubanud Country, and I want to pay respect to their elders, past and present, but also acknowledge how amazing the ceremony we had and welcoming us to country. We had it yesterday as well, which is inspiring, and I think that's what this is about. It's significant, and the gravity of what today's about is significant as well. I want to start, we talk about the journey of treaty, and we talk about taking steps forward, but today really feels like a giant leap. It's today we sign an agreement on the treaty authority, and I want to acknowledge your government for showing that you're willing to listen to our people. That you're willing to step into those spaces. You know, there's difficult conversations, there's difficult moments of when we've been negotiating this, but just the leadership and preparedness to step into that space, to meet the moment of what this truly means for not only us as First Peoples, as the First Peoples Assembly of Victoria, our nations, our clans, our families, but what it means for Victorians more broadly is significant. As Geordie and Jamie said earlier, our culture, our law has been practiced on these lands for countless generations. They've stood the test of time, and I think all Victorians will benefit from having those embedded in our public institutions. In many ways, treaty will help us embed the knowledge, the wisdom, the resilience of our people at the hearts of modern Victoria, and I think that's what truly is happening here through this process. It's reshaping what we know as the state of Victoria. I know it took a lot of work to reach this agreement, It wasn't easy. I'm sure our members would attest to that. I'm sure we'll have more tough conversations on the elements that are to follow in the treaty framework and the self-determination fund, but we actually really look forward to those deep and meaningful discussions and negotiations. But importantly, I also just want to take a moment to, for you, Premier and the Minister, just to have a look around the room at the faces of our members of the First Peoples Assembly of Victoria, who are the heart and soul of the Treaty for Victoria movement right now in this present day, who stand on the shoulders of giants, who have been able to deliver on what we've seen our community and our people fight for generations through our activism and our advocacy. And it's our members here today who have been out having the hard conversations with our mob, who have been, I guess, the builders while our communities have been the architects. And I guess in my role, and I acknowledge Auntie Jerry, who can't be here today through sorry business, I mean, they're the inspiration that drives us. I've got the privilege of sitting with, for the 14th time today, our 14th First Peoples Assembly chamber meeting, but I have the privilege of hearing the conversations, debating the issues, coming up with how we move forward, and that is why we have a true process of decolonisation, which we see in the Treaty Authority. An institution that is underpinned, that observes, that respects agricultural authority, Aboriginal law and law, which I think is absolutely significant to our pathway forward. And it's the testament to our members who stand here today before you that we've actually got there, and I think they deserve a round of applause for all their work. Our voice is united, our voice is collective, but our voice is powerful, and that's why we're here. We now have an agreement to sign, and an agreement that is decolonisation in action. It's stepping outside the constraints of the colonial system and putting Aboriginal law, Western law and cultural authority at the front and centre and the heart of what we're setting out to achieve through our treaty journey. So we might start the signing if Premier and Minister, you ready to go? Yeah. Members, can we have the members just stand by, come around the back? We might. We should stay. Because then they can see.
Sorry.
Whatever you tell us to do. That's the key. No, you go first.
Left-handed. Yeah, we're both lefties.
Make sure everyone sign.
No, good.
I think on the back's the amount, is it?
And then everyone else, all the other members can sign it.
Yeah, we've got another sheet for our members to go around and sign.
That's the special bit.
Yes.
Not getting away just yet. We might stick that on the end and get our members to sign. And but I'll invite everyone to come into the. I've forgotten the name of the room, but we're afternoon teas just around the corner here. Members too, and we'll bring the signing sheet in for our members to sign. And we welcome Minister and Premier if you're available to join us. But thank you for coming along to this special occasion. But such a significant moment in history that today we sign the agreement of the Treaty Authority, and hopefully in the not too distant future we land a treaty negotiation framework and a self-determination fund, and again leading the way for this nation. So thank you, everyone. G'day, there's like 20 cameras.
Straight ahead, straight ahead.
Tell us where to go first then. Cheers.
Perfect, thanks everyone.
One of those will be all right.